Hello, and welcome to GameQ. I'm Jason.
I'm Wesley.
And today we're going to be talking about
Persona Q2, new Cinema Labyrinth.
So if you're, I guess, new to our format, which you would be if this is our first episode, it kind of is. A little fluff.
Yeah, we're doing a sort of going through the games that we have finished recently or finished enough recently to warrant discussion. Going through just what the game is, our thoughts about it, our ratings, recommendations.
Yeah,
that you can tell if you would like to play it as well.
Yeah, so we'll start with a sort of brief overview of the game itself, give our personal review scores out of 4.
Yes. 1
to 4. And then kind of go into a more spoiler-full discussion of the game.
Potentially, yes. Likely to be spoiler-full.
Probably.
So we'll give you a warning before that happens.
But yeah, we'll start with the kind of safe bit, and then we'll let you know. But yeah, so today we are talking about Persona Q. Yay, sound effects. So I guess, do you want to...
Yes, this is Persona Q2 for the Nintendo 3DS. One of the very last Nintendo 3DS releases.
Is it the last one? It might be.
Probably the last one anyone cares about. Yeah. I don't know. As far as I know. Certainly the last major game I will have played on the 3DS. It's a dungeon crawler, very much in the tradition of Wizardry, Etrian Odyssey.
It's basically Etrian Odyssey. It's built in the Etrian Odyssey engine, yes. I think.
Yes, as far as I know. But yeah, it's basically this kind of dungeon crawler, but set in the Persona universe. In particular, it is a spin-off of Personas 3, 4, and 5. The original Persona Q was about the Persona 3 and 4 cast. This one has a bit of a focus on the Persona 5 cast. You start with the Persona 5 cast. But it also has all the Persona 3 and 4 cast as well.
Yeah, in the original, you actually picked between...
You pick which one you want to start with.
Yeah, you picked between the P3 leader or the P4 leader, and that gave you your initial cast for the first dungeon, that you then kind of meet everybody else halfway through.
Yeah, and here, or maybe a little earlier. And here, you start with a bit of the P5 cast, and you gain the rest of the P5 cast.
And then you slowly you kind of get everybody else in kind of small chunks. The main other new addition was like the female protagonist from P3 Portable.
Right, that was not in Persona Q1.
The game loop, I guess, is kind of you start off
very normal for this kind of game.
Yeah, you start off in town, which in this game is the cinema. Theatre. You kind of equip items, change out your party. So this game has a massive party of 6 people per ish per.
More even. It's like 8 almost per game. I think.
It's about 8 per game basically. Per 3, 4, 5. And you can only take 5 into battle.
Yeah.
And you sort of set that up in town in the theater, and then you go into the movies. You're like movie diving.
Yes, every movie is a different dungeon.
And you're kind of solving bits of the story as you go through the dungeons. You kind of keep you go into a dungeon. There's only a couple of dungeons in the game, each with a bunch of different floors. But you're expected to kind of go into the dungeon, do a bit, run out of resources, come back. So coming back is like resetting everything, and then you dive back in the dungeon, come back, go in, come back, until you get to the boss of the dungeon, which then unlocks the next dungeon. Yeah,
it's very linear. Some dungeon crawlers have a little bit more of this non-linearity.
Yeah.
Non-linearity. Linearity. This is incredibly linear. You're going to go straight through all the floors, one shot, and never really have to go back as part of the main story.
Yeah. There's not a lot of backtracking really. There are side quests. There are quests. They're not great.
They're kind of there, I guess, to try to flesh out the relationships between some of the characters, especially those that haven't met from different games.
But they're all I guess we're starting to get into some of the subjective stuff, but all of the side quests are kind of like in the form of, here's a couple of characters that are important for the side quest. If you take them with you, then they'll get like a very mild power boost.
Yeah, you don't even have to take them with you.
You don't have to take them with you. The game kind of treats you as having the entire cast, even though you only have 5 people.
Right. Yeah, everyone's always with you.
Yeah, everyone is effectively always with you on the maps. So the quests are kind of focused around just a couple of characters at a time who are, I don't know, all the characters who like eating will want a beef bowl, and they'll want to make a beef bowl out of dinosaur meat or whatever. And they're kind of fun, like little skits as you're going through the dungeon. You basically go back into the floors you've already cleared. The way they kind of try to make it a little bit more interesting is that they kind of carve out sections of the dungeons when you go back in for the side quests. So you're kind of going through them in a different order, or they've like walled off pathways and things. So they try to mix it up a little bit. I don't know if it's super successful.
Yeah, none of the dungeons are like so interesting as to really warrant going through them again.
Certainly not as many times as the side quests want you to go through.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the game itself goes, it's fun. It's got, I think if you've played Persona Q,
yes,
it's basically more of the same Persona Q. If you like Persona Q, it's more of that.
Yeah,
a lot more of that.
Unfortunately, it's not quite as good as that, but is more of it.
Yeah, I could believe that some of the mechanics are actually better in Q2 than Q1.
There's a little bit of difference.
There's a little bit less. There's a lot less focus on in PQ. There was a lot of focus on insta-kill skills.
That's true. Actually, are there none at all?
They still have them. They still have Hama and whatever the other one's called.
But they actually have damaging light and dark spells, which
is a new feature that kind of pulled in from Persona 5, right?
I think so.
They added Aha and the light one. What's the light one? I don't know. There's a light one. Light and dark skills used to be just insta kills, and Persona 5 added the like they added the damaging versions. So you still have the kind of weakness resistance system that you come to expect from
all Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, but this time they kind of drop. They dropped the
binds.
No, they keep binds. Binds is one of the game. They've collapsed physical. All of the physical types are all one type now.
Yes.
So in PQ1 and in basically every Persona game, there's slash, bash, and cut, or slash, bash, and pierce.
Or something. They have different names in different games, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, piercing, bludgeoning, slashing.
Yes.
whatever that amounts to. They've simplified that down into just physical.
Right. But they have added, I guess, Nuke and Psy elements.
Yes, they added Nuke and Psy, which were from 5.
Yeah.
So there's basically the same number of elements, just less physical types.
Yes.
So physical attacks have, I think, as a result, become less interesting overall. They're still really strong, and they're actually maybe better than magic overall, but...
all the time, yes.
Yeah.
For damage, at least raw damage, yeah.
But... yeah, I think otherwise it's mostly the same.
Yeah, certainly. I think combat is actually quite good, like it is in most Shin Megami Tensei games. Like we played on hard difficulty.
Yes, we both played on hard. We did not play on risky, which is the next level. Risky's the hardest. The only difference I'm aware of is if your protagonist dies on risky, then you lose.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually otherwise harder or not.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's not.
And yeah, hard is a good difficulty if you want to like engage with the systems in the game and have to actually have a well-balanced party that can handle all different elemental weaknesses.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's that hard.
No, not particularly, but it's not.
I think PQ1 was actually pretty challenging on hard. Where this game, I don't feel like I had much of a problem with basically any boss until near the end, kind of. There were a couple of the end-game bosses that were like, a little rough, and then the post-game bosses I just didn't even bother with because I just felt like grinding.
Yeah, this is only done for the side quests.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, I guess, story? The story is the story.
It technically exists. There's some.
We were talking about this a little bit before we started recording this episode, and I don't remember the name of the main female protagonist.
No.
There's like an original character. So in PQ1, there were these kind of two original characters that they introduced that were party members. Like you recruited them very early, and the sort of main story of all the dungeons kind of related to them. It was their story. That you were kind of helping them with a problem.
Yes. And similarly here, you have main protagonists that you are helping with a problem.
Yes. Unfortunately, her problem is really boring, I think. It's not so boring. It's actually... I like her as a character.
Yes.
I like
it's
her
interesting.
plot.
It's interesting to learn her story, but unfortunately, almost all of her story is actually in, like, the last dungeon.
Yeah, like the others. So all of the dungeons are about her, but
yes,
they're just kind of they spend so much time kind of introducing you to all of the Persona characters.
Yeah,
and kind of rehashing the same themes over and over again that they never quite. They don't really. You just don't get to spend that much time with them. Like, for her being there the entire game, you don't spend a lot of time with her.
I do spend time with her, but it's just not terribly interesting.
Well, because she doesn't become interesting till near the end. But maybe this is spoilerful discussion. We can save that for the kind of more in-depth stuff. Yeah. But suffice it to say, the plot's okay.
Yes.
Basically. It is fine. If there's a lot of cute antics between all of the P5 cast and P4 cast and P3 cast.
If you have some, like, Persona favorites, I'm sure you will like interacting with them again. You know, Elizabeth is back. Elizabeth
is still Elizabeth. She's still pretty funny.
So that's worth.
So yeah, all of the kind of skits between all the characters are really adorable. The art style is really cute. I love the art. Art's good.
A lot of the visuals I think are actually quite good for like all of the attacks are a lot of fun.
All of the animations are all like top notch.
Everything. A bunch of unique like combo all of the attacks. From the characters.
Oh, the music's all really good. Yes,
that's true.
The music is more Persona goodness.
Yes, and they actually added more songs.
Yes, every team, like P3 team, P3 portable team, P4, P5, all have a new battle song redone in their style.
Yes.
So
with the original singers from those games.
Yes, so that's really cool.
PQ only added basically one battle song, which had two variants depending on which party you picked as your opening leader.
It's pretty mild,
but they're very much like a P3 style and P4 style battle song. But that was like the only battle song outside of bosses for the entire game.
Yes, it's still really good.
It is really good.
The DLC let you play, I think, with other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here also, you can DLC a bunch of songs and have them like do random rotation through a lot of songs from prior games.
But yeah, I think all the presentation is really good. I think the mechanics are solid.
Yeah.
I think the characters are all great. It's just the way they decided to write the story. I think just didn't feel
like
wonderful.
Dialogue writing is fine,
and then the side quests are kind of
it's just a slog.
Yeah. They're cute. Some of them are cute. Some of them are much more like amusing than others.
Yeah.
But I feel like towards there's some games where like halfway through the game or like near the end of the game you're like, okay, maybe I'll kind of run through the side quests.
Yeah.
This game, by the halfway point, you're like, I don't even care about the treasure chests in this.
I just want it to be
side quest. I just want it to be over with. I'm just gonna run.
I found it a little more compelling, I guess, than like Etrian Odyssey. I have a harder time finishing the games oftentimes.
It's an easier finish than Etrian.
Yeah, even though they're probably about the same length. I
probably
imagine.
Well, so Etrian is harder. Is like more of a grind and a slog. I think. Not that the Etrian games aren't good. I do like.
So having the Persona cast does actually help carry you forwards and like.
Yeah.
To the finish.
Basically.
You have friends to get through the game with you.
Yeah. So you're kind of trading that for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The story is just. It's passable. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I'm kind of missing on the sort of overall scale?
I think that's
things to talk about, or should we get
good
to our,
overall? Yeah, we can get to our recommendations.
Recommendations.
For this game.
Do you want to go first? Or?
Yeah, I think Persona Q is really quite good. I was a fan. It's fun to spend more time with Persona characters, and it's the same kind of thing here. Especially because there was a previous game, this one does feel a lot less novel. Not that PQ is like terribly novel, but PQ2,
PQ1 was pretty novel.
It's awesome. Like it's much more interesting than Love Entry Odyssey. Like the dungeon layouts, I think are much more interesting in PQ1 than they are in PQ2, and the dungeon theming. So yeah, PQ2 is just kind of like more but worse than PQ1. And yeah, my overall recommendation for this, 2 out of 4. If you are an enthusiast of dungeon crawlers, I mean, it is a good solid dungeon crawler. If you like dungeon crawlers, like it's worth the time. But there are certainly better, more interesting dungeon crawlers out there, like at least PQ1, if not others. So there's nothing like so compelling. If you haven't played previous Persona games, then the cast isn't going to be very interesting to you. Like you don't have the same kind of character development that you would get from Persona, like a mainline Persona game. And we can get into that more in the spoiler section. So if you haven't played Persona, then there's kind of less to carry you through. But yeah, it is like mechanically it is really good. The presentation, visuals, audio are really quite good. So you could do a lot worse. But it's not like so compelling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my score, so I guess we should clarify. So we're using a 4-point scale. 1 is kind of the don't even bother, like this game is not interesting to anyone probably. It's basically that's like minimum, like don't even.
Yeah.
2 is we're calling it enthusiasts only. That's more of a it's solid. If you like this kind of game a lot, then maybe give it a shot.
Yeah, if you're a strong fan of the genre.
Yeah, it might not be a standout, or it has enough problems with it that you want to go in knowing the pitfalls of the genre, basically. 3 is more of like a pretty solid, like, play it if you're kind of interested. And 4 for us, I think, is you should definitely play it if you're even vaguely interesting. So 2. So I'm also going to give this a 2. This is very much targeted at existing fans. I wouldn't play this unless you played PQ1, and even then, PQ1 is better.
Yeah, you don't have to have played PQ1 to play this.
Yeah, you don't have to. You could play them in either order.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not so much different between the two.
And there's not really like story carryover at all between them. But if you haven't played any previous Persona games, I think you would miss a lot of the value of playing either PQ1 or PQ2.
Yeah. So it feels a little bit sad because we waited for this for like quite a long time. We were so excited for Persona Q2 to come out, and because we had so much fun with PQ1. Like I would, if we were doing a review for PQ1, I would almost give it a 4.
Yeah,
maybe it's
probably a 3
for
PQ1.
That game was really good, but I like I said, I don't even remember the protagonist's name in this one.
No.
And I still remember like the main characters of PQ1, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably been, I guess, a couple months maybe since we finished this.
Yeah, normally I think we'd try to do these reviews very close to when we played it, but we were kind of pretty busy over the winter months, so we didn't have a chance to do this. We finally got all the streaming and everything set up.
Yeah, I can remember all the like P3, 4, 5 character names. But yeah, the main.
But even just like Zen and Ray from PQ1.
Yeah,
they were the OC original characters that they introduced for that.
Yep.
Totally memorable. Like I loved their story. I can remember what happened to them for the most part.
I can remember the name of the strange blob in the theater.
Oh, in this game?
That doesn't really have a personality, and I can't remember the main character's name.
Yeah, I don't know. Her name was started with an H, maybe? Like Hitomi or Hikari? Is it Hikari?
Is it Hikari?
Maybe it's Hikari.
It might be.
It might be Hikari. It's light.
Yeah, it might be.
It's probably Hikari. That seems boring and generic enough.
Yeah, it might.
It's so sad because she is actually, like, I like her character design.
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
she's not playable.
Her story like is actually pretty compelling once you finally get to it.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's our ratings, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
probably
good for
our
that.
overview.
Get ready for our spoilerful review.
Yes, if you don't want spoilers for this game, and potentially we may talk a little in depth about Persona Q1 a bit as well, then stop now,
leave,
and then play,
be gone,
and then come back. Don't forget to come back.
So, review over, discussion commence, and I'll go ahead and hide the ratings, I guess, again, once we're done with that. So, in terms of what do you want to talk about in terms of like the actual overall game?
Yeah, so I guess a bit more about sort of the story, how the story is set up.
This for us, I think, in general, is going to be our chance to kind of discuss in more detail. These are the kind of discussions we just have anyway about the games, and we figured we should like record them in case any other people were interested in our musings. We can go back and check and learn and see what we thought years later,
eons later, for posterity. But in PQ, you get pretty decent story pacing, from what I recall. That like you get interesting bits of the story at the end of each dungeon.
Yes,
that are kind of mysterious, I feel like, as well. Like there's like a compelling bit of mystery, I feel like, in PQ1.
Yeah, so the kind of gist of PQ1 is that you're getting you don't know what's going on exactly at the beginning. You meet Zen and Ray, and they seem to be trapped here just like you. It's not clear 100%. Like, obviously, they're going to be related to the plot somehow, but it's not clear exactly how they're related to the plot. Ray's the girl, right? Yeah. Ray is very kind of shy, and Zen is very protective, and that's kind of what you have.
Her guardian.
And as you go through the dungeons, you kind of learn bits and pieces and sort of piece things together. But it is very mysterious the whole time. But the way they decided to do this and by the end you get like kind of the big reveal of who exactly Ray and Zen are. The final boss is like something is pretty relevant to them, and like the whole thing resolves itself in a nice, complete way. And at the end, you feel really sad about like I think I cried.
Sure.
When they're like, we have to leave, and then all the characters are like, we're going to split forever.
Yeah.
And we're all from different timelines, so we might never meet each other again.
Right, yes.
I thought that was like really, really fun and cute. But yeah, PQ2 decides to go this like kind of weird route.
I feel like it's like they thought they were doing the same thing.
They did.
Like, they thought they were going to do something that was like, oh, here's character development for the main character. At the end of every dungeon, there'll be some, like, piece of character development for her. But the lessons she's supposed to learn
are all the same.
In the first 3 dungeons are all the same lesson over and over again.
It's 3 variants of the same fucking lesson.
It's just like, oh, individuality is important.
Yeah, because the first dungeon is the city, where Kamoshida Man is the boss.
Yes, and it's kind of around authority, and like everyone in that town,
everybody is like just deferring to Kamoshida Man because he's the most big authority figure.
It's like, don't have any individualism, just like listen to authority.
Yeah, so the lesson of that is don't listen to authority if authority sucks.
Yeah.
Like, be yourself, consider your own opinions.
Yeah.
Dungeon 2 is Dinosaur Land, where
Jurassic Land?
Yeah, Jurassic Land, where all of the dinosaurs are kind of group thinking.
Yes.
And anytime anybody goes against the herd, they like shun them and leave them behind to get killed.
Different kind of authority. Here it's like the authority.
Yeah, here it's like
by consensus,
societal pressure.
Yeah.
And like group consensus. And I think at a glance, those two things can seem very different. Like, okay, here we'll learn about like authority figures, and here we'll learn about
peer pressure.
Peer pressure, yeah. But the way it plays out is like it really does feel like the same exact lesson learned twice.
Yes.
And then you get to the third dungeon, and the third one is more about individualism. It's the robot land.
Yeah, and here all the robots all have their programming, and you don't want to be the robot that goes against your programming, which is still just authority, again.
Well, okay, so I think the idea is that we have like authority is the first dungeon, peers is the second dungeon, and the third dungeon is society overall.
Sure, yeah.
But peers and society are pretty similar. That's kind of splitting hairs, I think. But it's just 3 dungeons of
learn that
Hikari learned that,
if that's her name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Hikari. I think it's Hikari. I'm confident going with Hikari. If I'm wrong, then too bad. Yeah, it proves the point. Yeah, it's just not interesting. And they try to tie it with the main characters a bunch. So a thing that they do here is they really try to focus more on the Persona 5 cast over the other 2 casts. And a big thing in Persona 5 is rebellion.
Right, yeah.
And like rebelling against the stupid adults, or shitty adults, as Ryuji likes to say. And that's a cool theme, and it works well in Persona 5. It's not, Persona 5 doesn't like go all in on it though. And this game went like 3,000% on you're an individual, be an individual.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. Like, it gets boring. There's nothing, they don't say anything interesting.
It also feels like at the end of each dungeon, you're like, oh, Hikari has like learned this new thing, and then as soon as you start the second dungeon, it's like, oh, she's forgotten it. Like, and this happens like 3 times.
Because the kind of frame story is so in the prior game, you kind of get Zen and Rei, and they actually join your party and hang out with you. In this one,
she's not even a party member.
Yeah, she's not a party member.
Which is kind of a mess.
She sits in the theater watching you do all the stuff.
And the one time I thought she was going to be a party member, she still wasn't a party member.
No, she just becomes like she gives you she has like a support ability that she gives you. It's pretty boring. It's not even a good support, really. It's okay. It's fine.
It's maybe necessary, but yeah.
Is it? Oh, well, you need it for that particular boss fight. I don't think you need it for later boss fights.
No.
But yeah, I don't know, she just feels so... She's just moping the whole time, and then, she'll learn her lesson, like, oh, what do you... I think now I've learned it's okay to go against authority and believe in my own opinion.
Yeah.
In the next dungeon, but I don't want to go against the opinions of the group.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my lord. Hikari, what are you doing?
Luckily, like, once you hit the 4th dungeon, then you actually start getting story.
Literally all the story, and then everything gets kind of good.
Yeah, like, you've learned basically nothing about who she is until the 4th dungeon. You just know that she has individuality problems. But you don't figure out, or don't find out why until the 4th dungeon, then you find, like everything all at once. You get to see, like, the events in her life that have led up to this. Given us cute little... musical vignettes.
Yeah.
They'll have, like, a pretty good song. That dungeon is the best dungeon.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the last dungeon could have just been split up into 4 dungeons and just delete the other dungeons from the game. Like...
They could have done this vignette in each of the original dungeons.
They could have. They really could have. Like, you learn so much more story. Yes, Lumancer in the chat. Ego Proxy School of Exposition Pacing. Yeah.
I have no clue what this is.
We'll learn one day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just such a... Yeah, all of the fun stuff is, like, right at the end. And it's not strong enough to redeem itself, too. Like, some games I'd be like, okay... I have to sit through, like, a bit of kind of shit plot to get to the really good plot.
Final
and this was like
15.
Yeah. Well, 15 is like bookended. 15 has a really good start, a really kind of boring middle game, and then like a really good ending.
Yeah.
This game has just kind of a meh middle part
until you get to like the 4th dungeon.
Yeah, it's not until the 4th dungeon, which is like the second to last dungeon. You kind of have the 4th dungeon and the final. And it's those 2 dungeons that are, well, it's not, the last dungeon's also not interesting.
Not like...
I think all the plot comes in Dungeon 4.
Yeah, it does. It all comes in 4. Yeah.
And then Dungeon 5 is like, surprise, this person's the villain. Yeah, this other person's the villain that...
I was hoping it was over after 4, but it wasn't.
Yeah, so it just kind of kept going, and you're kind of like, why am I still playing?
Yeah.
It just was like kind of a, I don't know, it just didn't quite capture what I wanted from it. And it's sad because like I thought Persona Q1 was surprisingly endearing
Yes.
plot-wise. Like it's a silly plot that ultimately doesn't matter to like the main stories, but it felt good and you felt like you learned something and felt like you went on a journey with people.
Yes.
Here, you didn't feel so much like you were going on a journey with people. It felt more like you were just trying to hammer into this girl to like stand up for herself.
Please learn. Please.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yep.
So that's kind of why we harp on it so much. And that's, if the plot was much better, then I could move this up to like a 3 or possibly a 4.
It'd have to be quite good.
I think gameplay would hold it back from being a 4. The gameplay is solid, I think, overall.
There's kind of a lot of it that's not like,
the side quests somehow got worse.
Oh, they definitely got worse. Yeah.
The prior game had the whole stroll mechanic, which I'm struggling to remember exactly how it worked.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a bit more Etrian-like, but I don't recall.
I think I think you would get like requests to like find certain items and stuff in the dungeon.
Right, it wouldn't put you, whereas the side quests here actually put you into like a specific copy of a dungeon that you're not doing as part of the main quest.
Yeah, you could, I feel like in PQ1, I think in PQ1 you could actually have happened to get the items you needed beforehand, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's more like Etrian.
So sometimes you would just be able to complete quests right away, and it felt fine. You'd feel like it was a slog. But man, the quests in this just were so boring. They were all just like go in the dungeon, like walk around for a bit, trigger like 2 events, and then walk to some point and then end it. Like you didn't have to fight anything most of the time.
And a couple
sometimes you have to fight an FOE.
The ones that were positioned as being like puzzles,
they just fucking give you the solution.
Tell you the answer. Like they'll set a puzzle, and you might be like, I see, that's cute. I like see what the answer to this puzzle is. And then on your way to like go and do whatever the answer is, all the characters will be like, "Do you think the answer might be this?" It's like, yes, yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I figured it out.
I can't, like, even the color teleporters puzzle was maybe the only one that they let you do on your own, but it was pretty straightforward.
And even at the end, they're like,
did you understand what happened?
Yeah. Like, explain the answer to you. I'm like, I already did it.
Yeah, it's not great.
And puzzles can be a big part of a lot of dungeon crawlers. So yeah, if you like dungeon crawlers for puzzles, this doesn't have any.
Yeah,
like,
it's really just focused on just the combat system.
Yes.
And then even then, I feel... So it does have a massive cast. I think the massive cast is kind of held back a bit by lack of EXP share.
Yeah, there's just
I don't know why they don't just give you EXP share.
Yeah.
Like, they should just have it.
I guess you tried to use different people. I basically didn't. I basically picked 5 early on, and I was like, well, it's a waste of my time to use other people because there's no EXP share, so I'm using these 5.
Yeah, so when you have like 5,000 characters or however many are in this game,
25.
You either use just like a set party the entire game and then you never change, or you play like me and you kind of mix it up a bit. Luckily, character level doesn't matter so much compared to like persona level.
Yeah, equipment and persona level matters.
Yeah, you can equip personas to anybody, so they'll all kind of be okay.
And the motivation mechanic tries to make it so that even if a quest involves someone that's like under leveled, that they still get enough of a boost that they're reasonable to bring with you. They get like extra bonus health and bonus SP.
And maybe they can do crits more, I think.
I think they have an increased crit rate. And that's not so bad, but for the first half of the side quest, I did take in the motivated characters. After a while, I just gave up on it. I'm like, no, I'm using my party.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother. It's not worth my time to switch the party members to do this quest.
Yeah, Lumancer's asking how grindy is this franchise's fan base?
Probably a fair bit. Like,
I mean, but
Shin Megami Tensei...
You don't need to grind a lot in Persona 5, right?
Yeah, I guess... Persona 5, yeah. I guess Persona 3 has this weird... Like,
Persona 3 has the final boss is so fucking crazy and has like 23 forms.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers if you haven't played Persona 3. It's like a form per arcana, right?
Yeah, I think it's 13, right? I think it has like 13 forms.
Yeah. Oh, it goes through all of the
I
boss
feel like
arcana, I
something
think
like
is what it goes through.
Yeah.
But it does take it's grindy, but it's not as grindy as
Yeah, it's true. It's not as grindy as some other RPGs are.
Yeah, okay. Friend code says it's only 13 forms, yeah. But it's not that like yeah, it's not I would say overall the series isn't that grindy.
Yeah, I guess
It's only if you're doing kind of post-game stuff. PQ2 isn't grindy at all.
No, it isn't really.
It's surprisingly ungrindy. I think I had to do a little bit of grinding in 1.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think maybe only the first boss I had to do like multiple times. I feel like the second and third I just barely killed at the level I was at.
Yeah. I thought PQ2 on the whole was actually pretty easy. I might have already said this, but I don't.
It's not a cakewalk. Like you need to be paying attention.
Cakewalk.
You need to make sure your party actually has like type coverage.
But a lot of that prep is kind of in building your personas. You can kind of you spend a lot more time in this game transferring moves between personas and building the perfect persona build. So you're wondering if the no EXP share was meant to cater to players who are looking to grind. Maybe.
Does anyone look to grind?
I don't think anybody wants to grind, do they?
I wish there was more grinding in this game. I don't know.
But I feel there wasn't even PQ, the first one, actually gave you EXP grinding or like EXP share rings that you could put on people in the background and let them accumulate.
Yeah, I don't think that exists in this.
But that doesn't exist in 2.
What's weird in this game is that quest rewards that give experience give them to everyone, no matter who did the quest.
Yes. But quest rewards count, but not combat experience. It's a mix. Friendcode loves looking to grind. I would. You
can do it if you want to.
Yeah, I would.
Level 99% is to unlock, so.
I like grinding in systems where you're like building characters more. Sure. So that's what I was gonna say is that the difference between this and like an Etrian is that in Etrian you're customizing your character.
Yes, that's true.
In Persona Q and Q2, it's more about like you level up the character, yes, but that's pretty. It's pretty brain dead.
They have a set of skills they learn, like Pokemon. There's like
brain dead. I don't think it's probably not. But whatever.
It's like we'll bleep it out. In Pokemon, like you know, character levels up and it just gets a set of moves, and that's basically what happens here.
Yeah,
there is a little bit more in PQ2 because you can actually like overwrite moves. Onto
PQ1 you could do that as well, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and PQ2 also gives you a way to undo that. I think there was.
PQ1 didn't let you choose what skill was getting replaced when you got a new skill.
It did.
I don't think so. I think if you got something like Zionga...
Yeah, if you got a pure upgrade, it would just replace it. Yeah, I think when you ran out of skills...
Strictly what you want,
I think if you ran out of skill, like if you got a new skill that wasn't a direct upgrade, it did ask you to overwrite something.
I feel like they only had upgrades of your initial skills.
No. I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Okay.
Regardless, let's PQ1.
Yeah.
But my point is just that if you're getting into this game to like have a lot of fun with the battle system, there's just not.
Yeah.
I felt a lot like the character. Like the only thing you care about is really just the character's passives. So you just pick the characters with the best passives or the passives that you want to use.
Yeah.
So you spend a little bit of time figuring that out. At least when I was playing. And then I kind of settled.
I care about the skills they have as well. Like I want someone who's a good healer, for instance. You could make anyone a
sure, but you could just make people that based on their stats.
Yeah.
So. But I don't know. I didn't. It was more team organization versus like character customization. The main thing you customize is the personas, and those you can just kind of assign however.
Yeah,
that's my point. I thought it felt better in PQ1.
I feel like it felt similar to me in PQ1, but yeah, there's not a lot of choice so much that like matters. We certainly built very different teams.
Yes,
like you had a particular strat around certain skills that you like built around.
Yeah.
And I kind of built around just having all the elements and like on a lunar blessing over and over again or something, but just like kind of cheap shotting.
The DLC abilities are worth having.
Yes,
they're very good. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
it was overall like that's why I think we gave it a 2 each. Like it's fun if you really like PQ.
Yeah, you could find worse dungeon crawlers. That's not too hard.
Yes, there are definitely worse dungeon crawlers, and it wasn't terrible. I wasn't like upset that I played it.
No,
I did enjoy it. I had fun. It just could be a lot better.
It could be a lot better.
So, yeah,
that's Persona Q2.
That's Persona Q2. I think that's it for this one. So, yeah, if you enjoy watching us, I guess subscribe or something. We stream these on twitch.tv/criticalham.
Correct.
Whenever we make them.
Yeah.
We kind of record them in random times.
As we finish games, we'll record them. I guess we'll release audio versions or other platforms, something slightly more regular, but still erratic.
Yeah, we'll probably delay them a little bit as far as releases
go. The live streams
but
could happen whenever.
Don't expect more than, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast feed, probably don't expect more than one a week, one every other week, one every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
it'll be random.
If we play lots of little indie games, maybe we'll get lots. If we play lots of 400-hour JRPGs, then maybe it'll be less frequent.
Yeah. So I think that's enough to call this a clear.
Yep.
So I guess till next time.
Farewell.